for natural healing. So I'm a little bit late tonight, but wanted to talk to you guys tonight about mold. So mold is often overmissed, and actually can cause tons of illnesses, tons of symptoms, and you might not even know that you've been exposed to mold. Mold can be from many different So mold can be from many different sorry, I had a glitch. I'm using my phone on my for my Instagram and somebody was trying to call. So okay, so mold can be from many different things. You can have mold from fruits. If one fruit has any type of mold in it and you think, "Oh, it's just that piece of fruit and if I get rid of that and everything else looks good," you got mold spores on it, and it's very hard to clean them off properly. And just rinsing them under the water and even some of the veggie washes does not get rid of mold and pesticides and other things like that. One of the best things that we've found is using Young Living has a veggie wash, a fruit and veggie wash. And that has it's been very good about getting rid of mold and pesticides and some other things. But really, if one part of the fruit bag or whatever has mold in it, you got mold spores all over. So you can ingest it. Um, a lot of like bagged peanuts and things like that. So like canned peanuts, canned fruit, dried fruit can have mold on it too, and you not even know it. Mold can be hidden in toothbrushes, or like in, like around the sink or underneath the sink. It can be in any damp, area. So bathrooms are notorious for holding mold, even if you don't visually see it. It can be behind the wall in the tile. It can be in the air ducts. So once the stuff is in like the tile and whatnot, it can go airborne and it can get transported all over your house through air ducts. So your air ducts can carry it to other parts of the house. It could be in carpets. Um, so like I said, underneath tile, behind drywall. And what do you do if you don't visually see it and you have all these symptoms? So what are the symptoms of having mold? So chronic headaches and migraines. So mold can actually be found in the brain tissue. It can be found from breast implants. So this is where um if you've ever heard of, women are starting to now get really, really sick, or it's been going on for a while, but people are now recognizing that breast implants can cause illness. And mold can be in those breast implants. It can be found in the heart, okay, in the lungs. So it can cause a lot of asthma type symptoms, shortness of breath, wheezing, feeling like you can't get enough oxygen. Because it can also be found in the heart and in tissues, it can actually cause a lot of sclerosis, like arteriosclerosis, hardening of the arteries, and things like that, and a lot of plaque buildup. And there could be a lot of bacterium and mold behind all of that stuff. And in holistic medicine, the heart is a priority, it is a muscle. A lot of people with lots of muscle cramps and spasms and things like that. That could be from the mold too. And partly if it's also found in the heart and it's stressing out the heart will take, the heart has to eat first. It needs the nutrients first because if your heart doesn't stops functioning properly, you're in big doo-doo. So because it's a muscle, it can try to absorb all of the nutrients that a muscle would need. And so it's actually depriving your other muscles from nutrients like B vitamins, magnesium, potassium, and other things. And this can actually lead to muscle cramping. You start giving the heart nutrients and removing some of the gunk, then the other muscles can actually function properly as well. So your other muscles can actually function properly, and you actually wind up not getting muscle cramps anymore. So mold, if it's in the brain, again, headaches and migraines, memory problems, brain fog, brain fatigue. How many of you guys feel like mentally fatigued? That can actually be from mold too. Okay. Generalized weakness. Okay. Um, psoriasis. Believe it or not, psoriasis is actually can be from mold. Hormonal imbalances. So having hormone imbalances, it can actually affect the thyroid a little bit too. Um, and speaking of muscles, so it was interesting because so especially in the fall, I like to go out. So I horseback ride, and I like to go out and go trail riding. And in the fall in the Chicagoland area, it gets very, very damp and the leaves are starting to fall. And it gets very it's our other rainy season during the fall in October and November and stuff like that, right before the snow hits. And so this damp weather actually causes all the leaves that have fallen to start molding. And it was interesting. Was it last winter or the winter before? Oh my goodness. I had such bad muscle pain and it was horrific. And I actually had my practitioner at the time. I forgot when exactly it was, but I had my practitioner at the time muscle test me, and she she wound up testing and it came up for mold, that I had mold in my calf muscles and in my hamstring areas, and I literally thought I tore a muscle. I didn't know it was so bad. It was so hard to move my leg. It was so hard to um even walk. The pain was just unbearable. And I was ready to go to the ER because I thought something was really, really wrong. And the pain was just that unbearable. And I had the chiropractor look at it. I was getting massage therapy, and I'm like, something has got to be wrong. And I called up my practitioner who does muscle testing, because yes, I still see a practitioner to do muscle testing. And they turned around and um, muscle tested me, and I had mold um, in my muscles, actually my hamstrings and my calf area. And we started detoxing the mold and pulling out the mold, and my pain started subsiding. So mold can cause a lot of issues. It can actually cause urinary problems such as urgency, um, as well. And it can actually cause a lot of abdominal issues too. So, like IBS type symptoms, bowel issues, constipation, things like that, unexplained, um, abdominal pain too. I had one patient that actually came up with, she had breast cancer. She had a fungating tumor. So it was a tumor. It was a very necrotic tumor that was on the outside of her breast. And when I muscle tested, it came up for a lot of different things. Mold was one of them. So she was coming up for Lyme co-infection and parasites and mold. And it was really interesting. So I had her, she was taking oral supplements, but then I had her soaking her breast and doing like a paste and doing like a soak, during the day, and then a paste at night of a supplement that we use from Cellcore. And a lot of patients test really, really well for this. And again, it depends on what your body tests for. But she was testing really well for something called carboxy, one of the best supplements out there to get rid of mold. And it was really interesting to watch, because as she was taking it orally, and then she would do this paste and she would do a soak with it. And it was interesting because each week it was like the tumor was like deflating from the inside out, and it was actually starting to concave in itself. So it was starting to indent inward, um, which was really kind of cool to see. So, I've seen, a couple tumors actually have mold inside of them as well. So, you have these symptoms, there's always an underlying cause, and mold might be one of them. Um, I've seen mold in dryers, in wash machines, especially wash machines, and then it can get on your clothes, and it's very hard to get rid of mold. So that mold smelly stuff in your wash machine, you possibly need a new wash machine. It's really, really hard to get rid of some of that stuff. If you're not getting rid of the source of the mold, you're getting source. ERMI tests are 100% accurate. They can be a little bit pricey, but they are 100% accurate. You can get somebody to come out and inspect your house, and do um, like a mold inspection. Sometimes they'll do it for free. Um, but if they don't find mold, it doesn't mean that your house doesn't have mold. Okay. It just means that they can't find the source. An ERMI test is probably one of the most accurate ways to find mold. Um, so you want to ask about that. And if that company, if that restoration or mold restoration company actually will do an ERMI test, or if they've heard of one or whatever. Um, so that way, even if they don't find the mold, they can find out 100% sure whether you actually have mold or not, because it might not be visible to them. Like I said, it could be hidden behind or even in carpet, underneath the flooring. So if it's not visible, they might miss it. That doesn't mean that it's not affecting you just because it's not visible. So again, we do muscle testing, which can be, and in a couple videos I explain this, it can be done virtually and or in person to find out whether you've been exposed to mold or not, or whether that could be the underlying cause of your symptoms. So oftentimes we see that other things like parasites can actually have mold inside of them. So when we start doing like a parasite cleanse, they can release that mold too into your system, which can lead to other symptoms as well. So if you decide that you want to do a parasite cleanse, you should probably do it with a holistic practitioner that understands that doing a parasite cleanse can release gunk into your system, and then you want to be able to clean up that gunk as well as much as possible. And a good holistic practitioner will be able to do that. If you want more information, or if you think that you've been exposed to mold and you're having a lot of health issues after that mold problem, guess what? You're probably holding on to mold in your body. You got to get it out. You have to have somebody to help you detox mold. So give us a call. Um, you can call us at 708-554-6730. Again, we do in-person and virtual appointments. And yeah, let's get to the root cause of why you have your symptoms. Any questions? Please don't hesitate to reach out. You can even put something in the comment section, if you have more questions as well. All right. Have a good night, guys.